welcome to episode 2
of The Criminal Crack.
I cannot believe it's episode 2.
I can't believe it's episode 2 either. This is fun.
I'm really excited because this week, as you know, every week one of us will tell the other a story, and because I was first last week, which I hope you all enjoyed, it's Victoria's turn this week, so I get to sit and listen, which is good because I drank Monster last night at 8 o'clock at night and didn't fall asleep till after 4 in the morning. I've never buzzed like it. Energy drinks don't usually affect me because of my ADHD and autism, but I'm medicated now and apparently that makes a difference.
But we're not promoting any particular kind of energy drink unless they want to sponsor us, and then bring it.
I wasn't going to say the type. It's that bad apple. But anyway, what have you been up to this week?
You did say the type though, didn't you?
I said the brand.
You said the brand. Okay. I've been on a mighty adventure with my friend Lynn.
Wait. You have other friends?
I'm sorry. I'm afraid I do.
Got it.
They're awesome though. You'd like them. So Lynn came up from Reading and I picked her up from Inverness Airport, and then we went all the way up to the very top tip of Scotland, to the UK mainland, the highest part in the UK mainland, which is John O'Groats, which everyone knows that anyway.
What is a groat?
I don't know what a groat is. It sounds
why is
like
he the John of it?
Sounds like a testicle growth, doesn't it?
Trust you to go there.
But anyway,
it's usually me that lowers the tone.
We went
up crack on
to John O'Groats. We saw all sorts of things. I saw puffins. I finally saw puffins.
You did?
I didn't take any photos though. I'm really gutted because I left my camera with my long zoomy lens in the car, which was just a rookie mistake. In the car park.
How far away from where you were standing?
Far enough. And I'd already been literally blown over by the wind. I got blown off my feet and landed in the sheep tip.
I call boohickey kids.
Yeah, it was great fun. And on the way back, we did a little magical mystery tour. We went to a church. I think it's just called the Old Church in Nigg.
N-I-G-G.
Yeah, we always say, we are the knights who say me.
Gem shakes.
There was so much history in this church. It was pretty cool. Well, we didn't actually get to go in. The church warden bloke had just locked the church, but we went around the churchyard.
Oh, wait a minute. I thought you couldn't go in because you might go up in flames.
Well, there is that potential, isn't there?
There is.
But we went around the churchyard. There was some really interesting stuff. They have a cholera stone, which is basically a headstone where years and years ago there was a cholera outbreak, and somebody who was the warden of the church at the time, I think, saw a yellow cloud passing the church and caught the yellow cloud in a piece of cloth and buried it and put a stone on top. And it's just one of those.
Well, that sounds legit, and I'd just like to let everybody know that most of, all of our cases are backed up with references, but I cannot stand behind what Victoria's just said.
Well, I wasn't there. I'm just telling you what the story is. So the locals won't remove the stone for fear of releasing the cholera on the cloth buried beneath.
Okay.
You can go move it if you want, cholera, you weirdo.
I'm not going up there.
Bring on the disease. No, don't.
I've got enough wrong with me without adding cholera to it.
Yeah, I don't even know what cholera is.
I think it's in the water, isn't it? I didn't think it was airborne. Is that not to do with bad hygiene conditions?
Is it? I think it's something to do with rotting flesh, isn't it? I don't know if
so
it's
this,
air or...
Luckily, this is not a podcast about cholera, as neither of us have a clue.
Because we'd be guessing.
We would be. I'm hoping I'm not too loud. I'm going to sit back a little bit, and I'm going to try and slow down. So just a heads up, the Scottish voice is Jem and the Englandshire voice is...
The Englandshire voice is Victoria.
Unless I'm doing an accent.
Unless she's doing a really good accent.
It's not, don't say it's good, because people will be like, that's terrible.
Yeah, but it's when I try and pronounce the Scottish places, as we've already experienced.
That's true.
So apologies in advance, because there are some Scottish place names in the case I'm covering.
Well, I didn't really do anything this weekend, so I went to a car boot sale.
That's
ate
awesome.
A really good cheeseburger.
That sounds like a good weekend to me.
It was good. I was disappointed as there's like a little tea hut thing. Oh no. Foul. If you know, you know. That hurts.
Sorry, that was a bit hard.
It was.
I don't know my own strength.
But I was told by somebody outside the tea hut that I could expect pancakes on the inside, and they have been my current food obsession, although I had one today and I only managed a quarter of it. I think it's done. But When I went in and looked at the table with the snacks, I said to the woman, yo, where's the pancakes? Have they run out smoking a pancake? And she said, we haven't done them since COVID. That was like 5 or 6 years ago. Why is the guy outside telling me there's
Why would
pancakes?
COVID be...
Because... Well,
Curse
first,
you, COVID! Another thing you're responsible
they stopped
for.
after COVID because everything had to be individually wrapped. But their volunteer numbers dropped as well, so they don't have people to do the buttering and the raspberry jam.
How on earth do you wrap a pancake? Anyway, do you prefer a fat pancake or a crepe?
I prefer a crepe. In fact, your mum makes really good crepes.
I make the best crepes.
You're speaking crepe. Anyway,
Always.
so let's get on. A lot of people don't like the banter. I mean, whatevs. That's their personal choice, I guess. But come on then, Victoria. What is the crap?
So I didn't know if I was supposed to, but I've named my episode, which is a little bit nerdy, but I just thought,
You are a nerd.
I've researched, I've written, I'm going to name it. So this one is called Terror and Tidewrack.
Tidewrack, like where I used to work.
Tidewrack.
Working in...
As in gumph you find on the beach.
Oh my God, this is Victoria's special subject. Is this an actual true crime case, or is this you just telling us what you've picked up for the last year?
You're not meant to tell people I pick stuff up on the beach.
She puts it back. Okay, sorry.
Looking at the massive bit of driftwood behind me.
Oh, well, I'm sitting on a shelf.
That's going in my monstera, so yeah.
I can't even see it. I thought we were joking.
No, that...
Oh.
It's like
It looks like an
5 foot
antler.
tall.
Sorry. Go.
Anyway, it was on the afternoon of Wednesday the 12th of December in 1945, while a retired cooper named Alexander King combed a familiar section of shoreline along the River Dee in Aberdeen. He was collecting driftwood for his fire. Whilst he was there, he made the most gruesome discovery. Bum, bum, bum.
Gruesome discovery. Was it Donald Trump?
It was.
Oh, sorry, we don't do politics
No,
here.
we don't. Who? Donald Duck. No.
Wait, can I just interrupt really quickly?
Go on then.
So, for ages, my children thought two things. First of all, they thought that Boris Johnson was Doris Bonson. And they thought that Donald Trump was the Donald from Donald, Where's Your Trousers? And they weren't old enough that they should
Do you
have.
mean it's not that Donald?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh, illusion shattered.
Sorry. Right, I'm going to be shushy now.
Okay, so Alexander noticed something out of place. A plump white object lay amongst the stones and Tidewrack. There's that word again. On closer inspection, Alexander realised that what he was looking at was in fact a human arm and hand. Now in 1945, with the war having recently ended, it wasn't totally unheard of for human remains to wash ashore. However, Alexander was quick to notice that the arm was bound at the wrist with twine, and he promptly raised the alarm.
Oh, God. I've not heard this one.
Alexander sped hastily with the limb to a police box in Victoria Road, where he informed Detective Superintendent John Westland of the discovery. DS Westland was shortly after assigned to the case as lead investigator, and work to identify the origin of the remains began immediately. And here's a sciencey bit. It really was fast, this police work. Police surgeon Dr. Robert Richards was called in and tasked with the initial examination of the limb. He stated that the left arm, with hand attached, had belonged to a female aged approximately 18 years, who had more than likely been alive 3 days prior to the discovery.
In 1945, they were able to work that out.
I know, that's so clever. It's science. He reported that although there was already evidence of animal activity because the back of her hand had been nibbled away by crabs, the limb had likely been in the water for less than 24 hours before washing up on the shore of the Dee. Rigor mortis had locked the nicotine-stained fingers into a claw-like arch. So hopefully I'm painting a good picture of this.
Think the thing?
The claw.
No, thing.
Yeah. And there was little evidence of manual labour. The arm had been severed at the elbow using a knife and a saw with small teeth. And Dr. Richards noted that the saw had been used in multiple directions. And although the wound was neat enough, it was too neat to be that of a propeller or something similar to that. It was decided that whoever had performed the disarticulation was likely not a medical professional.
Okay.
The arm and hand were bound loosely at the wrist by twine in a granny knot. Notably so loose that they believed there was actually space for some sort of anchor, so possibly a rock, which had likely fallen free when the limb had been discarded. Although most would have already assumed this, it was stated that a person with this kind of injury would likely have not survived.
Do they know if it was cut off post or peri-mortem?
I couldn't find that information, but I think the assumption was
Hopefully.
post, yeah. So police searched, so nevertheless, even though they think they're looking, they think this is a murder, they don't think this person would have survived that injury. The police did search hospitals for any female amputees just to cover all bases.
Yeah, it's been found with an arm missing.
And the pace of the investigation really was rapid. So within 4 hours of discovering the limb, fingerprints have been taken from the dismembered limb and matched by police to those belonging to a young lady called Elizabeth Haddon, who was not well known to the police but who had previously been caught shoplifting, hence her information was on file.
So if you got caught for shoplifting but not convicted, you used to get your fingerprints taken. I have heard I've heard her name.
You probably have, yeah. So Elizabeth Haddon, also known as Elizabeth Ann Craig, but more commonly and affectionately known as Betty, was a petite, dark-haired young lady and recent school leaver who was nearing her 18th birthday.
Oh, she wasn't even 18 yet.
No, it's so, yeah.
Can I interject a second?
Of course you can.
We also know that it can't be a barber because did you know that back in the day, if you were training to be a barber, you went through a lot of anatomy similar to what doctors went through in training. So they knew how to wield a scalpel, basically.
See, this one's interesting because by the end of it, by the end of researching, I have my theories as to who it's not.
Oh.
But not to who it might be. So this is an unsolved.
I think we would really like it if listeners, after they hear your whole tale, weighed in.
I'd love to hear as well if there are any people local to the Aberdeen area who might have heard stories and this might have been a tale of
and lore.
That this might have been something that parents had told their young daughters, don't go out at night, because you'll end up like Betty Haddon. Who knows? I'd love to know if there are any local legends
that's interesting.
about it. So Betty usually resided with her mother Kate and 5 siblings in Manor Walk, Woodside in Torry. Tory, is it?
Yep.
Oh, that's what my parents used to call me, Tory baby.
And you don't like it, do you?
I did used to. So Torry is a small suburb of Aberdeen lying on the south bank of the River Dee. Did I say it wrong again? Tory.
No, you said it right. Think about Tory, baby.
Although she hadn't been home since early December, Betty's absence was not a cause of concern, as she would vacate her widowed mother's home when looking for work so as not to be an extra burden on the family, supposedly. Well, you can imagine with 7 people under one roof, it would...
You're going to have to stretch the purse strings, aren't you?
I couldn't find out about the siblings, but I'm assuming maybe she was the oldest, and so potentially that's why she was going out to look for work. And yeah, there was little information about the family other than there were 5 siblings and a widowed mother, and her I think Betty's dad had died 2 years prior to this. So Betty was presently unemployed, but she had previously been employed as a waitress, a kitchen maid, a factory hand, a fish worker, and other things. However, her mum told the police that some of these jobs only lasted 3 days or so she wasn't exactly committed to the hard labour. Betty was said to have a fiery temperament, and a neighbour described her as a wayward sort of girl and a strong-willed girl. I think we've probably got on with her.
Yeah.
The same neighbour mentioned that Betty would drop in from time to time to smoke, chat, or to read a book. And Betty's mother, Kate, said Betty was not a bad girl. On Betty's character, others claimed she was... Well, whilst we're on Betty's character, others claimed that she was flirtatious. And someone described her as a lady of the night. And although I don't think this necessarily has the same connotations it does now, Betty was well known along the waterfront in Aberdeen and often seen in the company of men. But the waterfront area of Aberdeen in late 1945 was a hub of activity with pubs and taverns, which were popular amongst port workers and sailors.
Well, docks
but it doesn't necessarily mean what you might think. But
I think she probably was a sex worker.
We can't rule it in or
All
out.
right, but it's not a big stretch.
It's not a huge jump, is it? So once identified, the police acted quickly in circulating a photograph of Betty, and in fact the local tabloid press responded by running an article on the front page of the Evening Express in the very same day.
Wowzers.
Yeah, it's so fast moving. They obviously had nothing else going on. The grisly headline read...
Compliment in one hand, taken away with the other.
The grisly headline read, "Grim find on Aberdeen foreshore. Sawn off arm and hand found. Foul play suspected." It's like,
no shit, Sherlock. Jinx.
Don't hit me.
Oh, right in the shin. Sorry. Did that hurt?
I should have done my reflexes then and just kicked you in the tush.
I actually worried that your reflexes don't work. I'm sorry. But you did hit me on the head.
I'm dead inside. Investigations into Betty's whereabouts, including eyewitness statements, quickly gleaned that on the Monday the 10th of December, Betty had been out drinking along the waterfront with a friend, Sheila Stewart, who was 21 years old, so a little bit older than Betty. Their movements were well documented, although almost all sightings that I've found to refer only to Betty and not to Sheila.
Okay.
Which is probably common as she was the victim here, so...
Yeah, you would expect...
They may just be assuming that we know that she was alongside her friend, So at 7 p.m. on Market Street, Betty was seen trying to attract the attention of 3 sailors. The witness said she was giving the sailors the glad eye.
Not the glad eye.
The glad eye.
Market Street is where we went to that vintage kilo sale.
Oh, right, okay.
It's
Yeah,
that
so
street that goes up
that's
the way.
right down by the harbour then.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that paints a good picture for me as well, because I did have a look at a map and I was trying to sort of get my bearings and figure it all out. So that's good.
You been there?
I've been there. So by 7:15, so I don't think her glad eye had much effect, but by 7:15, Betty was seen walking with another girl, assumed to be Sheila, and 4 fishermen who witnesses say were possibly foreign. How they know this, I couldn't tell you. Maybe they had sombreros or something. Sorry. At 10 p.m, don't give me the giggles.
You said sombrero.
This is serious.
It is, but
So
you said sombrero.
at 10 p.m, so quite some time later, an eyewitness claimed to have seen Betty walking with 2 sailors, arms linked, and the witness said she appeared to be acting strangely, but I think that's a bit vague. So
Was it somebody who knew her?
It wasn't.
Well,
no.
then how do
So
they know what was
I
strange
think
for
that one
her?
is a bit. You could.
Put it this way, if somebody saw me walking down the street that didn't know me, they're probably going to say I was walking strangely.
Exactly. Yeah. That would have to be in context from I know what she's like normally to.
Yeah.
So that's why I said that's a bit vague. I
Yeah.
do. Yeah. I could disregard that sighting.
Eyewitness statements
altogether
are never the best anyway.
Not really. But if it was her, it said that they were heading towards Union Street.
Okay.
And at 10:30, Betty was spotted back in Castle Street by herself, but following closely behind 4 girls. Then
Okay.
at 12:45, so again, a couple of hours later now, this seems to be not only the last confirmed sighting of Betty, but also the most reliable, as this witness was a friend of Betty's.
Oh yeah, that makes more sense then.
This was in Upper Kirkgate, where Betty had approached that friend to inquire about lodgings for the night because she was living homelessly, or it was believed that she had been living homeless for her last few days anyway. The friend said that he couldn't help but that Betty had departed in high spirits, waving behind her and shouting cheerio as she left. Cheerio! I can't do a Scottish accent. You do the cheerio.
I can't do an Aberdeen accent, but cheerio!
This was just 21 hours before Alexander King made the discovery on the beach.
Wow, it really did happen quickly then.
Really
Whatever
quickly.
happened to her happened, and then she was found.
And the police work as well. I am really actually quite impressed with the scale, and I'll go more into what they did. Yeah, even though they never got the answers they wanted, I'm impressed with the work that went in, or
Yeah,
the
the
work
effort.
they've reported.
Especially when she has been, people have described her as a possible sex worker. We all know
Yeah.
that nowadays it's a fight for people in the sex industry to even be known as
Yeah.
missing or shared as missing.
Yeah.
So yeah, good on them. I can't remember, Detective Westall or something, was it?
It's I was just going to say about the sex industry as well. It's Westland, the detective.
Westland.
But I wish the media wouldn't necessarily, unless it's important to the details or important to locating somebody, I wish they actually wouldn't even mention it sometimes, because it demeans that was somebody's little girl, somebody's partner, somebody's sister, it's, and men as well, sorry, men in the sex industry that go missing as well. You just don't focus on that bit. They were a human.
I think if there's a string of, and it's sex workers being, what's the word? Targeted, then fair enough. You can say that. But I almost think it's a way of saying this person was a sex worker, so the rest, you normal people can go and breathe a sigh of relief.
You're
and
safe.
It's awful.
But that's not true anyway, because most of these people escalate. People who do these crimes, they do escalate, and they're opportunistic. Mm-hmm. So everybody beware, not yeah. Anyway, it was Detective Westland. In the early hours of December the 12th, so around 2 a.m, this is where the terror comes in.
Maybe a little quick trigger warning.
Yeah, not necessarily.
Is it gory?
No.
Okay. I'm good then.
I'm sorry.
No, I don't like gory.
No, in the early hours of December the 12th, at around 2 a.m, the quiet of the hollow winter night was pierced by a blood-curdling scream. And this is how residents of a small area on the south side of the river described the terrifying sound which rang through the streets. So reports came in from residents and I've looked at the map, and it's an approximate half-a-mile radius, so not massive. They listed a load of the streets, but I thought it's not going to make sense. If you're listening in America or something, you're just going to go, meh. So it's about a half-a-mile radius where these reported screams
people actually did report it. They actually
reported
because
it.
So often the bystander effect kicks in.
And
good on
these
them.
blood-curdling screams were heard and reported. And this was just hundreds of metres from the river and slightly west of a golf course that's there, which hadn't been used much since the war. So I think it was pretty much an abandoned wasteland, if you can imagine.
If you were a
by
local,
that.
You would know that. So it's unlikely that it's one of these foreign sailors, as they were saying.
Exactly.
Not the way that I would ever describe somebody,
No.
but... Can I just say one thing though?
Yeah.
During the war, I had to get it out.
During the war, the lengths Aberdeen City Police went to in this investigation were huge, as I've already mentioned. Betty's disappearance was said to be the catalyst for one of the most intense and prolonged operations the force had ever conducted.
Wow.
So ships in the dockyard were searched, those on board were questioned. The police tracked vessels that had been in Aberdeen on the night of Betty's disappearance and intercepted them at their next ports of call.
That's nuts.
That is nuts.
And this wasn't, sorry to interrupt, but there was quite a lot of murders in and around the 40s. So it wasn't like, oh, look, we've got something to do today. We're not getting cats out of trees.
No, I know. It's honestly, the scale of this
That's
is
testament,
impressive.
isn't it? I'm glad they did that for
I'm
Betty.
glad they did that. The police were also witnessed dredging the river from rowboats. They were seen wading in long boots and flat caps. That it was actually said that the police swapped their police hats for flat caps when they went into the river, and they were using grapes, which I was like, this is not the fruit.
Oh,
Whilst
I never thought it was.
Whilst fruits have many uses, this was not. Now grapes, graips, which I think are a kind of pitchfork, like a long. You know that American Horror Story famous painting with the woman and her husband, and they've got the pitchfork.
Nope.
Oh, anyway.
But I'm going to look up what a grape is while you're talking.
That's what they were using to examine the foreshore, which also painted a pretty dark mental image in my head, because it's like, so you're just going along like stabby
Like
to see what else
gondoliers.
you can find, like prod.
Gondoliers?
No, that's a pole.
No, but they stab it into the water.
Yeah, but they don't see if they can like squidge it into
You don't know.
human remains.
Well, they weren't. No, when they were doing that, they weren't trying to They weren't trying to pitchfork the other arm.
So they also used large magnets in case her body had been anchored by something metal. Police forces also cooperated along a 400-mile stretch between Berwick-upon-Tweed, which is the most northerly county in England, and John O'Groats, where I've just been. And they searched the beaches, and so all these police forces were sent out to search the beaches and the shoreline, and particularly places where they knew things washed up, because you do get certain coves and things where you get a lot of debris. But no other piece of poor Betty was ever recovered. So it was noted that a human leg had washed up after a storm in the Bullers of Buchan. Am I saying that right?
Buchan. Is it Buchan?
Yeah.
I taught you Buchan in the last
Buchan.
episode.
I'm so sorry. I'm too old to learn new tricks.
Don't, because that's just buying into the women at Decorah calling one of us a dog.
Woof.
Woof woof.
No, so it was noted that a human leg had washed ashore after a storm in the Bullers of Buchan. Hey, I did it.
Sort of.
This is approximately 30 miles north of Torrey, but
Yeah.
this was determined to be that of a man and not related to this case in any way.
Did they find out who it was, or?
They did say that might have been a seafarer, like somebody lost at sea, like a fisherman or something.
Sorry.
But no, don't say because how many pirates have wooden legs? So he's all right. He's got a stump now, probably.
Why?
I'm sorry.
I saw a man who built a Lego leg yesterday, and instead of made out of Lego, he said it was made out of leg. He never built it yesterday, I saw it on a meme. No, I was going to ask, you said at the start that they determined that, like, the person couldn't have survived. Are they 100% sure she couldn't have survived?
That's all the reports that I
Nothing
read.
else. What about, did her handbag or anything like that turn up?
Nothing.
Gosh.
No shred. Not like the last episode where, they
had a few
did
things, yeah.
find things. There was nothing apart from her arm and hand.
It's so sad to think, like, that people can just disappear.
Yeah.
And it's almost worse when one part of them's found, but
Yeah.
nothing else.
And I think her friend said she would have had... There were descriptions of what she was wearing. I think she was wearing a green or blue coat and she would have had cigarettes and things with her. But
Yeah.
nothing.
Oh, and I
nothing.
guess because she'd had alcohol, she probably bled out even quicker than she would have anyway. Oh, I feel really sad.
Yeah. Well, there is a strange twist here.
Oh.
So Sheila Stewart, the friend that I mentioned had been out on the night out,
Yeah.
she disappeared and was now also reported missing. An article in The Sun on Thursday the 20th of December 1945, so that's 8 days after Betty's arm was found.
That was the 12th, wasn't it?
Yeah, so this is what the article said.
Wait, and was she found again? Sorry, I'm rushing ahead.
You wait. The mystery of Betty Craig, also Betty Hatton, whose forearm was found on the foreshore at Aberdeen, has been intensified by the report that her 21 years old friend Sheila Stewart is missing. She is believed to have planned a visit to Glasgow, but the police are considering the possibility that she too has been murdered.
Did they see something?
Dun dun dun. This is really sorry.
Is this horrible?
No, it's a real oh, okay then. Thankfully, Sheila was traced some days later in Perth, Scotland. That is thankful, that is good. She
It's
was
on
all
the way
right.
to Glasgow.
She was returned to Aberdeen where she was questioned, but and this I find a bit strange.
Wait, did she do a runner?
That's what I'm wondering.
Yeah.
So there is little information about what Sheila had to say. So she wasn't given any information about the night in question, and I find that really peculiar.
That's probably why they don't mention her as much. Could she, one, have had something to do with what happened? Could she, two, have witnessed it and thought, get out of Dodge because I don't want to be next? Don't have a three? I built that up.
Right, well, I have a 3 for you.
Go on then.
Did they have what we'd now call a pimp? Did Betty say, I'm not giving you my money tonight? And hers was used as a threat to the others.
Yeah,
and
it
so
was,
they scarpered.
yeah, making an
That's
example.
speculation completely. This is just my mind going to, what
It's
could
plausible,
have happened.
though.
It is plausible, I think. If she was a sex worker.
Did sex workers back then have, I don't like the word pimp, but did they have somebody like,
A manager.
yeah, let's go with a bananager.
I don't know if they did. It's something we'll have to find. I would say they did, because if you think about madams in brothels and things, that's
Yeah.
much, much older. Much, yeah. 1700s they would have had somebody managing them.
Definitely
It's-
plausible then.
And the sex trade is probably the oldest
well, it is the
industry
oldest.
in the world, isn't it? So
It is, and it's ridiculous that it's illegal, but
yeah. But that was potentially another reason why Sheila might not say anything, or might have very little to say to the police if she in fact was working in that industry too. Notably as well, few of Betty's male acquaintances were forthcoming with information. So that does kind of...
that's horrible as well, because the police are working so hard to try and, like, her poor mother and her siblings as well.
I know.
Just because she didn't live with them just now, that was circumstance. It doesn't stop you loving your kids, and it must be awful.
And also, she was away trying to find work. That's what they said, was like she would go away when she wasn't working so as to not be a burden, because she wasn't bringing an income into the house. So she was trying, and her mum said she was a good girl.
Yeah, one less mouth to feed.
Yeah. Police caught wind that Professor Sidney Sweeney, a leading forensic expert, was in the city, and they invited him to re-examine Betty's limb. The professor concurred with the findings of the police surgeon and added that he had himself performed 2 surgical dismemberments, which took him approximately 2 hours. He stated that someone with no professional knowledge of anatomy would have taken far longer to perform the gruesome act.
But there wasn't much time in between, and hang on, so where were we at? We were about 2 a.m. when she was last seen by the friend that she was trying to get boarding with.
Yeah.
Allegedly.
And then the limb was found at
21 hours later.
Yeah, 21 hours later. So somebody with,
There was
he's
the
saying with no,
screaming.
the
that
scream
the
was
limb?
at 2 a.m.
Yeah.
So I think
Was Sidney Sweeney in town before?
no, this was a few weeks later that I think they caught up with him.
Sorry,
So
Professor Sweeney.
he was doing a talk at a college, I believe, something
All
like
right,
that.
okay. There is quite a big medical students do go to Aberdeen, so
You get ready for this, though. This is, like,
Oh,
honestly,
Jeannie.
the lengths they went to with this investigation.
this is 2 cases now where the police have really pulled their finger out.
Yeah, yeah. Initially thinking that the dismemberment itself must have taken place in a ship or dockyard building because of the assumed time and...
You can't do it in the middle of the street,
Not
can
gonna
you?
exactly. They concluded that the remains must have been deposited between Tuesday night and Wednesday morning, which we kind of, if you're saying that yes, that scream was Betty, yes, we kind of would assume that too, because she was found Wednesday afternoon.
And
or
the
part of
arm
her.
was not meant to come back.
Exactly. But in order to try and determine where, so they wanted to determine whether the arm was, the body, I suppose, the remains, were deposited from land or sea, they concocted a rather peculiar sounding experiment.
Okay.
And I've put on my notes here, enter pig limb.
Oh.
Yep, pig limbs weighing approximately...
Pig limb does not
I
sound
know.
right. That's what you should have called the episode.
Yeah. So the piggy's limbs, weighing approximately the same as Betty's arm, were thrown into the sea from various points on land and at sea.
To see where they return up.
To try and determine which would follow the same direction, because obviously the currents do tend to follow the same direction. Now, the only limb that ended up on the same stretch as Betty's arm had been deposited into the water at Tory. So,
I can't understand. Hang on, 2 ticks. I can't understand why you would cut somebody's arm off to then deposit it. I don't get it.
I imagine all of her went in the water.
Well, if you think about it, Professor Sweeney said it takes him a couple of hours to remove 1 limb. So if we're to believe that this person with no training managed to cut off her head, both arms, both legs, possibly her feet, that means...
So there was speculation some years later, I haven't included this in my notes, but I did read about an investigator more recently who, so this isn't, word for word, but he speculated that she had been put in some kind of case or box, and actually the arm was the only part they couldn't squeeze in.
So they just chucked it.
So they just chucked that one, but for me,
then where would the box would have been found?
The box would have
wouldn't
been
it?
found, absolutely. Yeah, you'd think, unless it was buried very, very...
That poor
I don't
girl,
know.
what did she do?
What did she go through?
Wait, and you said somebody else's a leg. Could it have just been maybe there was a serial offender? I know they thought the leg was a seafarer, somebody lost at sea, but could there have been a serial offender?
Well, it's always possible, isn't
Cutting
it?
limbs off.
Cutting limbs off.
And if
Maybe
that
he was
person came
making
in on
some
a
kind
port,
of Frankenstein.
I knew you were going to go down this
monster.
sort of route.
You knew.
I was
read
gonna-
my mind.
I was going to mention politics, but I shall not.
No, don't do that. So we were at the limb coming from... They figured from this pig limb experiment that it was deposited in Tory, which is where she was from. And from this, the knowledge that the killer or killers would have needed a place where they would have been undisturbed and the possible use of a vehicle because they did obviously have vehicles then. The police surmised that the killer was likely local and maybe even known to Betty.
Yeah.
So, and I think that seems
Offered
more
her
likely
dead?
than a lot of the early news headlines mentioned the sailors that she'd been seen with. I have an issue with that.
Mm-hmm.
Because a granny knot is notoriously a bit crap. It's not a very secure knot. And for me, seafaring people and sailors know they're knots. If
They
they
do know
want
they're
something,
knots.
but contradicting that, her arm was the only part of her where the knot failed and it came to the surface. So actually, could it have been somebody who just rushed that last little
You
knot
see,
loop?
my issue with the sailors, sorry,
It's all right.
is that they live on board that boat. How are they hiding the equipment used? How are they getting back onto that boat? They would be covered in blood.
Yeah.
Somebody would have seen something.
Well, not if they swam back onto the boat.
Well, then you'd be like, why did you swim back on the boat, you knob? Use the gangway. Check me with my lingo.
Check you with your sailor lingo. So the interesting methods of the police used during this operation didn't end there.
So
There's
is
more.
this pioneering?
There is more.
Is this pioneering? Why have I got no words today? I blame early perimenopause. Did they invent new methods? Is I guess what I'm asking.
Potentially pioneering methods of, but it's just good old-fashioned police work, isn't it? Because
Well,
they
no,
couldn't.
like the pig limbs isn't. That's not. That's something you have to think.
That's
you know
pretty
what, it'd be a good
creative,
idea.
isn't it? I think this.
Yeah.
I think this Detective Westland must have been pretty creative and pretty open to people's suggestions, by the sounds of it, which is good. That
Yeah,
makes
that's
an
what you
excellent
want.
team.
There's not enough of that, and I think he has a. I think he looks like Des Lynam.
Do you?
Yeah, bushy moustache.
I think taller though, taller than Des Lynam, but
Was
yeah.
Des Lynam, or sorry, is Des Lynam
I believe he's short.
a little guy?
I think so.
I'll find out.
So the methods, these interesting methods and these pioneering methods didn't
Go them.
end there. So in trying, they really did seem to think of everything. In trying to determine the source of the screams heard during the early hours of the 12th of December, female police officers and clerical staff, they volunteered for this. They were situated in various locations around Torry and asked to scream at the top of their lungs, which is actually very therapeutic for anyone who's never tried it.
I
Just
can't
go out
scream.
into a field and scream. It's amazing. Their screams stirred no response from residents.
So they
No
didn't hear
response.
them?
They didn't hear. They didn't see any little lights flicker on. They didn't see any curtains twitching. Nothing. And the experiment was actually deemed unsuccessful.
Did they go around the houses and say, like, did you hear something? Why didn't you? Like, did they check?
I don't know if they checked. I don't
Or
know
did
that much.
they could have put other police officers in locations around the area and then had the women scream, so then the police officers could be.
They
hear
did
it.
have other police officers with them, so but the police officers were more. I think they were there to observe the responses and reactions of the locals, of which there were none.
I would just like to say that Victoria was wrong. Des Lynam is 6'2".
Get out.
No, I won't.
Show me.
Well, he's so 1.8. No, let me show you.
That's not a picture of him.
No, wait a sec. 1.88 metres is 6.2 feet. Go back. Des Lynam, 1.88.
Oh, he's not the bloke I was thinking of.
Who were you thinking of?
Another grey-haired Manny.
Did he have a bushy moustache?
Yeah, I don't know who.
I can't look up all the
I'm sorry.
Mannies. Sorry, Des.
So that one was unsuccessful, that experiment. On Christmas, so this is still about the screams. On Christmas Day in 1945, Aberdeen CID issued this statement. Information to the police during the past few days has established that about 2 a.m. on Wednesday the 12th of December, screams described as being made by a female in terror were heard by several people at different points in the Tory district. If the person who screamed was not Betty Haddon, it is of vital importance that the police learn who that person was. And nobody came
Nobody's
forward.
came
I'm sorry,
forward.
my dog is huffing and
She's
puffing.
not the dog, she's the CEO of the criminal
She
crap.
is the CEO.
Georgie.
George Eyebrows.
Oh, she's just getting... Right, we'll just give it a minute and let her get cosy.
She's making her bed.
Is that an actual little bed? I never... Is it a little...
It's a little cosy for her. It's
Oh
not.
my
It's not.
God.
Yeah, she's got a nest. She's got a Matt Cardle pillow.
It's hit
But now she's huffing.
Tell everybody how old...
Oh, George is 13.
She's so cool.
She is my furry potato.
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 Oh, we might get into trouble for that.
Oh. Gemma's about to grow potatoes, but not little George's, even though I would love that.
That would be amazing.
But she's about to grow potatoes in a washing basket.
Perhaps you could send me some advice.
Potatoes.
Potatoes.
So, from the screams on the south side of the river to the last sightings to the wild experiments with pig limbs, police were certainly focusing their attention on Tory itself, and a police spokesman said, "We shall go through Tory yard by yard." Now, apparently, and this amused me, apparently old Tory housewives were very house proud, and so news of the intense house-to-house inquiry sparked a manic cleaning frenzy.
Which is what you want when you're looking for evidence.
With women scrubbing their steps twice and outhouses, and you've got to wonder if one of them unwittingly washed away some crucial evidence.
Let's get rid of this second
an horrific
arm.
crime. It's just that it did make me I just sort of head slap. You know that bit in Airplane or whatever.
Don't mention what you're doing. And also, are you supposed to wash your steps?
You are, and your front door, you dirty cow.
Why? This all sounds like innuendo to me. What I would be called in Aberdeen is a clatty midden.
She's a clatty midden. Wash your curtains, you skank.
Don't talk about curtains because you know what that's got me thinking. Just get on with your tail.
Right, so this is a bit later. Obviously, Betty's arm was preserved in a jar. This is just a little factoid for you. Betty's
What
arm
size of jar?
was preserved in, well, not a Marmite jar.
We're not sponsored by Marmite, and we never will be.
I love Marmite, yum. Betty's arm was preserved in a jar and used by John Nichol as a macabre prop during a lecture on police work. It was held at...
No, I don't like that. A prop.
I know.
No,
it was
that's
held at
disrespectful.
Marischal College. Is that
Marshall. I think it's Marshall.
Marshall?
Wait a sec. So her family weren't given... they probably couldn't afford to bury her, but...
No. There were talks of him holding it up to the light for all the people to see and stuff. It was held at the college until the mid-90s when the college relocated and the arm was discarded for the second time.
Wait a sec. At what point, as either a police student or a medical student, whoever was there, do you not know what an arm looks like? Why do you need to see one in a jar? That's really irked me. That's annoyed me. That's so disrespectful.
Well, what irked me was the thought of, in my notes, I wondered if a fresh scientific examination now, had they have not discarded the arm for the second time, it could have gleaned more answers. And the police reportedly had suspects in mind all those years ago, including two sailors who had supposedly been seen with Betty just 14 hours before the limb was discovered. But I'm reluctant to believe it was a sailor for the reasons I said before, because I would agree. I don't think they'd do an unreliable knot. I also think somebody needed a place, to do this dismemberment, and
because
a
you're not
local
doing it up
sailor
an alley
wouldn't have.
or
No,
and you're not
way.
going on the boat. Oh, sorry, Captain.
Aberdeen police still hold a box within their archives containing files related to this case, which I would love
Are we allowed
to
go and have a look?
have access to, but it does say it's a closed file in the sense of it is not a public record.
Right, well, that makes me wonder as well.
Exactly.
What's in that file?
So it contains files, I think it was one box containing multiple files related to the case of the murder of Elizabeth Haddon, closed to the public, but it would be interesting. I want to see what shifted their focus so abruptly to Tory and away from the docks and shipyard, which they'd focused on quite a lot
Heavily
because
at
of
the
where
beginning.
she'd been seen, but also, they were talking about these sailors, they were talking about all sorts of things down at the shipyard and dockyard until, was it just the scream? Because if it was just the scream, what if that wasn't her? What if they've shifted all this focus to Tory when actually it was down at the dock somewhere? Or was it somebody just with a car? He's just driven her away. There are so many unanswered questions, and I would love to get my hands on those files.
I wonder is there a book about this? Did you find a book at all?
I haven't found a book,
anything else
no.
about...
No, there's lots of reading, lots and lots. There's lots of even the newspaper articles, and I took a lot from the Press and Journal, from...
Press and Journal's brilliant.
There is one book, actually, which I referenced. It's just a Google book, which was... The name will come later. We'll put it in the blurb, because I've just got the link.
We'll discuss
there.
references.
The
at
link
the end.
is PT65 and LPGPT65 and that's no use to you.
Oh, the end of that was in Morse code.
So I doubt now that the mystery of Betty Haddon's disappearance will ever be solved. Solved?
Don't sell.
Solved.
Well, so
and I wonder too, and this got to me a little bit, so I wonder how much less we might know if that one anchor had not slipped loose. So if
she would have just been a missing person.
If it hadn't allowed Betty's arm to surface on the shore of the Dee that day, she would have just been a miss. How many missing people, they're just gone without a trace, and would another missing girl have sparked one of the largest police investigations in Aberdeen history? I don't think it would. I think she would have unfortunately been cast as a missing girl who was, this fiery temperament, who had potentially been a sex worker, who was living homeless. I don't think if that granny's knot had slipped, we would not know her name.
We wouldn't know her name. And that makes me think, because I'm a bit of a believer in fate, there was a reason that happened. Yeah. And maybe it was just to get her name out there. But back then, did they have the 7-year rule for declaring her dead?
I don't know.
Because I do wonder... You would think
know.
Back then it would have been needed, because then at least her mum... I'm not talking about compensation, but it might have helped her mum out a little bit. But I was going to ask where her grave was, because I just sort of assumed that they would have buried her arm.
I should look that up. So they must have a spot for her.
Or a memorial.
They must. And if they don't, we should create one.
We'll look into that, and if we can find it, we'll do a little day trip one day and go and show you everything.
So, whilst researching this as well, I found a piece of artwork by somebody called Edward Gorey. We don't know that it's about Betty, but if you look at it, it's got a foreshore in the background. Mm-hmm. It's called Had Elizabeth Only Known. It was painted in 1946, so 1 year after Betty had gone missing.
Weird.
And it's a really grotesque picture of a naked woman with no arms from the elbow.
Have we looked into this guy?
Being hung off a shipping hook. And I have looked into this guy because I wanted to see if he ever visited Scotland. And he did, but not until the 70s apparently. But he was in the military. And...
Knife skills?
There is just something about this picture that I just thought it's got to be relating to her. I will put the link in our blurb and everything so you can check the picture out for yourself. Maybe do some sleuthing, I don't know.
Why would somebody do that?
I know.
I don't understand why.
He's into sort of macabre and grotesque things anyway, by all accounts.
But does it have to be based on a real person? Which obviously is.
We don't know that
Come
it is.
on,
but
it's got Elizabeth in the
looks,
name.
Yeah, it's got Elizabeth. And Had Elizabeth Only Known almost sounds threatening.
Had she only known that I was
he was? Yeah, exactly. I know.
Oh.
Another thought that I had that I did jot down, the arm being dismembered with a knife and a saw. Mm-hmm. That says to me that it wasn't planned. They weren't necessarily well practiced in dismemberments because...
They thought it would be quicker and then they resorted to the saw.
Yeah, and...
Wait, that then
so
means
an alternative
that tool...
was available. That's it. So were they at home? Were they in an outhouse or a workshop? Did they have a kill kit? Was a kill kit a thing in 1945? Was it this a Dexter style? I've got my roll-out baggie with...
You're thinking of...
Dexter.
No, the kill kit guy. I know exactly.
Joris Bonson.
I know exactly who he is, and people will be screaming at...
Oh, what, BTK?
No, he wasn't the kill kit guy.
He had a kill kit.
No, the guy...
freaky things.
Kill kit. I can't get online to find it. Carry on, I'm going to come back. He had kill kits all over America, this guy.
Oh, you'll have to do that one. I don't know that one. I probably do.
You will. Israel Keys.
Okay.
I will do Israel Keys.
You should.
It's horrifying.
But yeah, I wondered if, could this have been a kill kit? He had a go-to when...
Or he was a trade.
Also, she worked in a fish place, as a fish worker.
Yeah.
And I thought, okay, could this be somebody who is used to gutting fish with a knife and going, oh, well, I can do this. And then gone, oh, a knife's not going to cut it. We're going to need...
That's not a knife.
That's not a knife. It's a knifey spoony. We're going to need, a saw.
A bigger
so
boat.
could it have been a bigger boat? Yeah. That's not Essex. I don't know why I went Essex.
Oh, we're gonna
have to cut
hate
this,
us.
aren't we?
We're not cutting it. No, can we just go back as well as to maybe? So she was looking for work. A lot of people would have been looking for work around that time. So a lot of tradies would have been looking for work. Tradies, joiners, plumbers, all that sort of thing. So maybe somebody travelled with a kit.
Oh, I thought you were going to say maybe she was really good at gutting fish and they didn't want her to have the job. No, I doubt that.
You think I'm thick, don't you?
No.
A little bit.
No.
Wow, I have heard of the case before.
Yeah.
I thought that her mum was something to do with, this is me, I've obviously got it completely wrong, but in my mind, she lived with her mum, and her mum, it was like a brothel, but then I've obviously got mixed up between cases, which is quite normal for me because I read so much. And...
Have you got mixed up though? I mean...
Well, it's really interesting.
It is really interesting. There are a lot, go Google this, because there are lots of images, there are lots of, not of the arm or anything like that, so
we will have
pictures
up on our Instagram. So from each episode,
I mean, there's even, these women, these housewives that decided to go on this mad cleaning frenzy.
Did they? But
they were even like, oh, come in, have a cup of tea to the officers and stuff. And so there are a couple of pictures of the...
Stranger danger, guys.
I know, right?
Come on.
You trust the police. Well, you certainly did in the day.
I trust individuals.
And actually, it seems like this was a police force to trust at the time, pulling all stops and...
Unless there was a reason for it.
Yeah. There's lots of unanswered questions there. I do wonder why Sheila was so quiet about that night and her sudden evading Aberdeen and
I'd like to see if we can find more information about that. I'd also like to look into the Ancestry archives, see if we can find the siblings and see if any of them befell anything.
Yeah, sometimes
or
tragedy,
if did any family members later on in life go and look into the case. Maybe we've missed something. And
like the case you did last week, the family will never ever give up. And I can quite imagine. I can imagine Betty's closest people would want to find her, obviously. I can't imagine her mum having a lot of spare time if she's got 5 siblings, but I can imagine there being people to rally around and just
you did rely on
want
the police
answers.
Then. Whereas nowadays, we're not afraid to go and ask questions. Plus, women have changed between then and now a lot.
Yeah.
I guess back then, women still were kept in a certain place and daren't ask questions, especially not of like an inspector or something like that. Whereas you and I, for example, would be like, nah, this doesn't make sense. There must be something else going on here.
Definitely. We've got those kinds of minds that probably race ahead, but sometimes it's valid, Mm-hmm. I think...
Who was your speculation? You had a speculation about who you thought you might be able to link it to.
No, I thought I was just ruling out sailors, which they clung to for a long time because she'd been seen with sailors, because it was a knot. But I don't think, I said already, I don't think they'd have used an unreliable knot.
That could have been a ruse.
It could have been a ruse.
I can't remember where the knot came in. Was the knot still...
The knot was still, the binding was still
around her wrist.
Around her wrist, but it was loose enough that they thought there must have been some kind of anchor. Mm-hmm. Obviously, they didn't know it was a rock because otherwise they wouldn't have gone on to do the magnet sort of fishing thing to try and...
And the magnet thing would have found a box, if that theory was right.
Well, not if it was a cardboard box. A cardboard box would have disintegrated in water.
Everything would have floated out. But it's bound to have had... Is it not like treasure chest era? So it would have like bolts and buckles.
There would have been a lot of debris in the D. So, sorry.
That wasn't easy to say, was it? You had to have a bit... Like, you need a space. Debris in the D.
There would have been a lot of debris in the water around the UK because of the war, because of the huge industry.
But there's also a lot of nets set up when you think about it, not in and around Aberdeen. You don't go into Mulek and get caught in a net. But, in the waters there must be a lot of nets. So was there nothing... Oh, God.
You could, honestly, this took me down such a rabbit hole of... I wanted an answer. Mm-hmm. And that's the trouble with Unsolved. And I apologise that we've done 2 Unsolveds.
I'm not
2 weeks running.
We don't know what each other are doing.
That's the thing. We don't know what each other's cases are going to be, so it might happen again. And hopefully it's been interesting enough that you'll go do your own research, tell us if you find anything out, tell us if I've said anything which you think, no, I'm contradicting that.
Have we made a mistake? In any of our episodes, we welcome constructive criticism. If you come on and just be rude, you will get blocked. If you've not realised already...
Unless it's fun. If it's really funny, you know.
I'm going to tell you something funny in a second.
Oh.
Because it's to do with when you spoke about wooden legs, but just give me a sec.
Okay.
As I say, like, we won't... Victoria and I are very of the people, I guess you could say.
For the people!
We are. So without going too much into it, if you look at what's happening in America and what happened here recently with regards to the law, this is not something that we believe in. People are people, end of. So this morning, my son said, "Oh, Mum, I've got a joke for you." And I said, "Okay, go on then." And he said, "Right, there's this guy and he lost his eye, okay? And they gave him a wooden eye, which I always used to think you could see out of a glass eye, but now I'm wondering if they made them out of wood, if that was possible. But anyway, this guy got a wooden eye and he went to a party one night and he saw this most beautiful girl and he was looking across at her and she did have a big nose, but he just thought she was stunning. And he went over and he introduced himself and he said to her, "I'm just wondering, would you like to come out on a date with me?" And she went, "Would I?" And he went, "Shut your face, big nose," and stomped off. And I said, "Oh, that's made me really sad. I don't like that." So we had to add a story to the end of it where they got over. She said, "No, I didn't mean your wooden eye." And he said, "You've got a beautiful nose. It was the first thing I saw." And then they got married. There was a lot to unpack there. References for all episodes will be on our Facebook initially. We are working on a website. Victoria's the blogging queen.
I'm just smiling about her son's joke.
That's one of his better ones, but it did make me sad. I nearly cried.
Oh no, they weren't meant to be together. Can you imagine the babies?
I did say that.
Aww.
That they would have 3 eyes and one would come out of a nostril.
You're such a dick. Of course you can't see through a glass eye.
Well,
it's just there for
vanity.
Not vanity, is it?
No, that's terrible. It's not vanity, but
it's not. It's just symmetry. That's what it's there for.
But a wooden eye, what are they drawing on with a Sharpie? The pupil? I don't understand.
Oh, imagine what you could do though. It's like I liked her from Kill Bill. You know, the one with the patch. Daryl Hannah's character with the patch. I just thought, oh, you'd have so many different patches, wouldn't you? You'd have a Halloween patch and an Easter patch. Like
Gabrielle had that really nice blingy ones. Remember Gabrielle?
Yeah.
Out of reach. Anyway, all references will soon be on a blog of sorts, which will also include basically our written notes for each episode as well. So if you want to go and have a read, you can.
And bear in mind, this is done in and around our working lives, our family lives. And once again, we are brand new to this. So it's all...
It'll get better. It's a learning
curve. It's all learning and hopefully we'll bring you some interesting cases that you might not have heard before. You might know every last detail of them.
Well, I can tell you that the next case coming is a UK case and it is a solved case and it's not a very old case. Sorry, that was a little bit abrupt there. I cut it off in the edit as I remembered that I hadn't done a shout out that I meant to. So this is Jem at a later date adding in the shout out. It's for a friend called Samantha Mackay and her friend Victoria Harvey. They are 2 best friends who are on a mission to raise funds for 2 causes close to their hearts, Milne's Nursery in Fochabers and the Fochabers Fire Station. Now these girls are bonkers in my opinion. On June the 1st they're doing the Kilt Walk, which means they'll be hiking 18 miles from Banchory to Duthie Park in Aberdeen, and then they're doing a bungee jump, a tandem one, on June the 12th, which I told you they're a bit bonkers. I'm going to share their page on our Criminal Crack page, but I just wanted to give them a little shout out. So good luck ladies, we are rooting for you. On that note, I think it's probably time to go.
Wrap it up. We'll see you next time.
Baby. Thank you for listening.
Goodbye.
Bye.